I've been stumped lately. I don't know why. Yeah, stump means I don't really want to say anything. Well, I'm always in that condition, but usually it comes out. So let me prime the pump. So hold on.
Hey, Paul, can I ask you a quick question?
Oh, that will help. Yes.
I know you say a lot the presupposing of a non-existent thing, right? I
Well,
can't
I
quite.
don't say that. Ramana Maharshi says that, but yeah, we jump on that one. Yes. So the
I don't quite get the pre.
well,
Like,
when you suppose something, in this case, what you're supposing is it leapfrogs to be the one that's supposing, so to speak. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's a presupposing. So let's say I suppose or I assume the store's open. Yeah. And then I drive to the store. In this case, the idea that you're an existent thing is presupposed, so you don't miss the reality of the non-existent thing. Yeah. The non-existent thing is like the starting point, but then we start this idea of the presupposing of that non-existent thing as existing, flips back and takes the non-existent thing gets sort of erased, so to speak. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So most people, they have to start at the existent thing, so to speak, and then through negation, go back to the non-existent thing. Yeah. Let me go again, because it says a presupposing of a non-existent thing to be something. So when it supposes the non-existent thing as an existent thing, it has to forget the non-existence of the thing. Do you know what I mean? So the fact is, the thing, the body, is non-existent. Then the mental state presupposes it to be an existent thing, and then that becomes the new starting point. So we don't start at the non-existent thing, we start at the existent thing.
So if you left the pre off it and you just said the supposing of a non-existent thing, that would be buying into the wrong thing.
Well, if you see, if the non-existent thing would loom when the head was saying it's an existent thing, yeah, but because it puts the existent thing before the non-existent thing, you never entertain or recognize the non-existent thing. You see?
Yeah.
So you're being supposed to be something instead of something else. Yeah. And when that presupposing of being something, that negates the something else. Yeah. So you just don't start at the non-existent thing and then seeing that, oh, something here is taking this thing to be an existent thing. You start as an existent thing. Yes.
Yeah.
So that would be the presupposing. So the supposing is giving a before to that which came after. Yeah. So it starts as a non-existent thing. What comes after is the idea that the non-existent thing is the existent thing, that when that's entertained, the non-existent thing is completely obscured. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because every time it's already been supposed to be an existent thing. You don't see the little trick of the mind. Yeah. So if something came after and yet it became the before, there was something that went on. Yeah. So the non-existent thing is what this is. Yeah. But when we seem to appear, we appear as an existent thing. We don't get the sense, oh, the thing is non-existent. We think the thing is what's existing. Yeah. So that's the act of presupposing the existence into the non-existent thing. And then the non-existent thing is basically wiped out. Yeah. and all your memories or all your starting points is as an existent thing. Yeah. So this is why negation is sort of the way it works. Yeah. It's not an affirmation. This is the non-existent thing. That's already been hidden by this presupposing. So we negate the existence of the non-existent thing. You see?
Yeah. Which is tricky to do sometimes.
Well, you don't do it. You just entertain it. You don't have to do it because the existent thing is not true. So there's just a negation of the seeming truth that's been given to the existent thing. The thing is non-existent. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is not a thing that's existing. Maybe existing, it's like there's the bulb and then there's the little light. Yeah. So the bulb isn't the light. The bulb is something that surrounds the light. Yeah. The little thing for a light bulb. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This case, the bulb would think it's the light.
Yeah, the bulb's just a piece of glass. Yeah.
Exactly. So the non-existent thing would take itself to be the light, take it being the bulb, it would take itself also to be the light of the bulb. So the bulb is what's putting out the light, you know, or emitting the light. Yeah, it's
That's a ripper. I've never thought of a light bulb in that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So the misunderstanding is presupposed. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pre-mean has a lot, that's time. So something there's a preview means it's before the movie. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. So in this case, the fact is we are a non-existent thing. We aren't, but it is a non-existent thing. And then the preview is that you're an existent thing. And the preview becomes the movie. Yeah. So now you live the preview and the narration is you're an existent thing. That's your starting point. When in this statement, the starting point is a non-existent thing. Yeah. It says there's a presupposing of a non-existent thing as an existent thing. And then that existent thing wants to get salvation for itself as a thing. Yeah. When the salvation is built in from the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
This misunderstanding is presupposed. And when it's presupposed, there's no idea that the thing could ever be a non-existent thing. You start at the assumption. Yeah. And the assumption sort of negates the truth. So what we're doing now is negating that falsehood that negated the truth. Yeah. So now we're recognizing that I'm not a thing. There is no Paul, yes, as seen as a body and obsessed over by the head. Yeah. So we're negating the mental state's affirmation of the non-existent thing as being an existent thing. So the mental state is affirming that all day. Yeah, reinforcing it and repeating it and on and on and on and on and on. And in this case, we're doing the same thing it sort of did, but we're doing it to it. Yeah, so now we're going to look at it from awareness and see that the non-existent thing has never been an existent thing. Yeah. And in that negation, there is the relief of or free from that bondage to the non-existent thing as being the existent thing. And he basically says, if this is the case, which it is, then your spiritual practices, because he's talking in that milieu, in that topic, your spiritual practices are reinforcing this presupposing of what? Of the non-existent thing being an existent thing. Yeah, because you're now practicing spirituality as an existent thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not the spirituality that throws you off. It's the one who's doing the spiritual practices. Yeah. Spiritual practices can have great effects, but it's the one that's doing the spiritual practices is through the spiritual practices is being reinforced. Yeah. So now instead of getting clearer about the non-existent thing, you're trying to get clearer as the existent thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
want to see that there isn't an existent thing. There could be what you call I am existence, but the thing is not the cause of the I am.
Yeah, it's the same as you said the other day, I think last Wednesday, about the difference between hearing thoughts compared to when you listen to them.
Yes, yes.
And a little penny drop there for me. It's like when you're hearing thoughts, it's for me, it's sort of like I see the non-existent two sides of the non-existent thing. If you don't, but when I don't know how to use the words properly, but when you listen to thoughts, it talks you into being the non-existent thing, and you do all sorts of shit.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly the same as what you just said.
They talk you into being the existent thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the non-existent thing, and then there's the seeming existent thing. Yeah. Where the existence gets muddled with the thing. So the light gets muddled with the bulb. And so now you think it's the bulb that's the source of the light. Yeah.
That's a nice one. The existence gets muddled with the thing.
So the existing thing, see, listening is you're listening to the head as the existing thing. And so that at that moment, the listening to the head is reinforcing the existing thing. Yeah. It's not weakening it. Now, when you hear the existing thing from awareness, let's say, that assumption gets suspicious that you're an existent thing. Yeah.
Like
so now you're sort of wandering into the zone of the non-existent thing. And like if you've ever seen someone you knew and was calling a certain name dead in a coffin, and it may have hit you that wasn't Uncle Fred, even though for years you thought it was Uncle Fred, because there was a mix-up between the existence and the thing. And then when you saw the non-existent thing, in other words, death had occurred to Uncle Fred, you saw the thing and you knew that wasn't Uncle Fred. Yeah, it's the same thing, but you don't have to see, there doesn't have to be a coffin and a death.
That's a nice one, that one, because I can remember, I think I told it once before, that I did actually go and see a viewing of my mother years and years ago. And I took my oldest daughter for some, she was only little, but she wanted to come. But I still vividly sort of remember in the funeral parlor looking in the coffin, and it was like, it wasn't her, you know what I mean? It was, there was something gone.
It was the non-existent thing.
Yeah.
So the existence seemingly is going to leave the non-existent thing. Yeah, that's death. Yes, here. So there'll be death to the seeming existent thing. And what that death will reveal at times, if you have the eyes to see, is that it was a non-existent thing. That the existence did not die. Yeah. In other words, that which the electricity that glows as the fillings of the light did not die. The bulb, got broken or something. So I want to get it as clear as I can say it. Yep. So it's cool to go this way. So you see what you called an existent thing, and then the thing is dead, seemingly, but it's actually that existence moved. Yeah. It's not animating that thing. And then you see its true nature, which is it's a non-existent thing. Yeah. We're attempting to do that without, having to go to, coffins and mortuaries all day, but it probably would work. Yeah, if you go and see someone you know and look at them when they're inert, you would probably come to this quickly or somewhere down the road that, Jesus, I was mistaken Uncle Fred as the body. Yeah, but what actually was Uncle Fred has left the body, and now the body is actually demonstrating its true nature, which is it is a non-existent thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. You're right, because for a few seconds I saw that at my mum's coffin, but then it's funny to say this, but my mum's funeral became all about me pretty quickly.
Well, yeah, of course, because now she's a non-existent thing, and you're the existent thing.
Yeah.
And you become the whole center of everything.
Yeah.
The self-centeredness is basically the whole system is centered on the idea of being an existent thing. That's it. And what Ramana said, there's the existent thing is not an existent thing. It's a non-existent thing. It's not saying there's not a thing. It's just trying to clarify that the non-existent thing is not the thing that's producing its own existence. It doesn't come into being an existent thing. Yeah. An existent thing is sort of like a telescope. The telescope never sees the stars. Yeah. But what's looking through the telescope gets to see the stars. So the telescope facilitates the ability to see the stars that we don't have without the telescope. But the telescope has never seen a star. Yeah. So here we are looking through this sort of apparatus, seemingly, which is a non-existent. The telescope doesn't talk back to you. It's not fucking walking and talking. Yeah. It facilitates something. So something that is awake can see through the telescope, and it can bring what was far seemingly very close. Yeah. Here, same awareness comes through this body, and then we have contact, conscious contact with a dreaming. Instead of the dreaming at night, in a way, we're touching it, and everything's going on. Yeah. Completely based on that the thing and all the things are existent in and of themselves. And when the body dies, I'm going to die, but you don't die. And you were not born when the body was seemingly came to be. Yes. You are not of coming or going. And it's this misunderstanding supported by the head, because the head is never, it's programming. It's called self-centeredness. It sees everything as how it pertains to this idea of I'm an existing thing. With the emphasis is that the thing is somehow the source of the existing. Yeah. And so, of course, we're in a hall, it's a hallway of mirrors, and we're just looking at ourselves all day. When we're looking, like you said, you go to someone's funeral and it's all about you. Exactly. This is what happens. It's basically constantly getting a reflection because there isn't anything really there. So it has to keep appearing. And so if you see it, man, you see the head has been professing, I was Paul, obviously. This doesn't even have to, it's just assumed. And then I will be Paul, therefore I am Paul. Yeah. Yeah. And because of that, the head, if the head was aligned with the existing no thing, it would probably travel through death a lot later. But when it's taken itself to be a thing and its life, it now has a limitation of living, like 80 years. It has a lot of anxiety and fear about that coming day. And it's probably very, very confusing because it has that sense of not becoming or not beginning and not ending. And yet the head is completely flipped out, because then it has its whole storyline that it's going to leave the body and go into a reincarnation. And it keeps assuming it's going to keep going just like you know it now. But It's like a voice box. It ends when the body ends. You're not going to be the one who quotes your epitaph. It's going to be hurt, and the only person who's going to experience your death are other people. You're not. You're going to die, seemingly. Yeah, and this is the good news. So, if you recognize, this is why negation is the way. Yeah, because there was a subtle affirmation of something that we have been living from, which is the thing is the existence. I'm an existent thing. There is no non-existent thing. There's only existent thing, and I'm that, yes? And therefore, the message is to negate that assumption that has been presupposed, yeah, and come to a clarity around it. Instead of trying that to affirm it's a non-existent thing, would only reinforce the existent thing. Because it would be the existing thing chanting, I'm not a non-existent thing. So the chanting I'm a non-existent thing would reinforce the existent thing. Don't you see it? This is the conundrum. This is why negation is, because there's been a falsehood that has been taken to be true, and it needs to be negated. Because if not, you're going to search the truth from that truth, and it's not true. That's basically the message or the invitation of non-duality. Yeah, is being ourselves reality, not as an existent thing. Yeah. Yeah. That's not being ourselves reality is what's animating the non-existent thing. And being ourselves reality, we were not born, or are we going to die? Yes. And all the slings and arrows of a life based on a body identification, we're liberated from. Yes. Not because we're a very sleek body. No, we're not a body. Yeah. An arrow can't pierce me. Where is it going to pierce? Like the Course in Miracles would say, my attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. And this invulnerability isn't like a Superman thing, invulnerability. So it's still a thing, the Superman thing, and it's invulnerable. No, things are not invulnerable. Yeah. These thoughts are about things, and they are attacking my invulnerability, which is my no thing. Yeah. Yeah. So we had that shirt we were wearing, it's hopeless, but not serious. Yeah. The situation is completely hopeless, but not serious. What? See, it seems weird, but see, there's a logic in there that's beautiful. Yeah. Because people believe, like in recovery, we have it. One of the biggest words in recovery is in the prologue or the foreword, and it is, we are 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. What the hell is that? We have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. Obviously, there probably would be no recovery from a hopeless state of mind and body. So you might as well just keep getting loaded. Yeah. But it's a seemingly hopeless. So this whole idea of the existent thing is a seemingly, it's appearing to be true to us. And it's just as easily, we have the ability to have it appear not to be true to us. And one of the ways some of us find this unknown ability is through satsang and the idea of non-duality. Yeah, we have the ability to recognize you're not that, because you stop looking from it and you look at it. Yeah. You see from the before, and the presupposing couldn't get before the before. It can only presuppose in time. Yeah. It can't get out of time. And we are out of time. If you just take a little taste of this. It's going to lead you right back to where you never left. And then you'll see the vividness of the statements of non-duality. They'll be living. I mean, they'll be alive, because it's like the language of before. Yeah. It's just like that whole thing I went through and I thought was based on an assumption that I had the ability to leave something I could never leave. And then I went off on this huge fucking thing I'll never get back, you know, the mourning and the sorrow of seeking and And then I realized a day or two later, I could never get back because I never left. It wasn't because I did any fucking crazy shit or I had a mortal sin or a super mortal sin. No, I haven't left. That's the reason why I can't get back. This is why you can't become a non-thing as a thing. You can't do it. Yeah. You can't do it. So as soon as the non-thingness, which is the existence, is claimed to be a thing, then the existence is using reality to try to attain reality. And Ramana said that's the greatest mystery. Being ourselves reality, not an existent thing, but reality. Yeah. The greatest mystery, being ourselves reality, is reality taking itself to be this existent thing, wanting to attain reality. Yeah. And it makes sense as long as that one aspect of reality is called Paul. Paul wants to attain reality. Fuck, that's a noble endeavor in some circles. Yeah. And people are like, wow. Yes, great. I'm busy here, but great. I'll support you. I want you to attain reality. Maybe some of it will trickle down to me. Yeah. But that's only because of the idea of Paul, which is the misassumption, the misunderstanding. And then when you see you're not that Paul, that thing, which he says will trigger a laughing one day, how about today? That's what it does. When you recognize the head, which is underneath it, is reality, is using reality to attain reality. This to me was the stumping statement. When I heard it and I had this seat assignment, it was obviously downloaded that if you don't see this, you're looking from it. That's why I've lost interest in the spiritual Olympics and how high someone went or how far transcended they went. I don't care, because I realize there's no going anywhere if you don't see this, because you're going to be looking from it. You're going to start at the point of you are an existent thing, when the start is that no, that the thing that you're calling you is a non-existent thing. Yeah. I mean, you can't get any closer to the start than that. I mean, it's not like you're just right before non-existent thing. There's not a huge buildup, and then there's the assumption of an existent thing. What's being an assumed and existent thing by the head is the non-existent thing. The non-existent thing isn't saying shit. The head says the non-existent thing is the existent thing. And then it seeks salvation for itself instead of from this idea. And then non-duality showed up to negate this presupposed affirmation that you are a thing. Yeah. Because if that is the mistake, then the mistake trying to affirm the truth is just affirming the mistake. That's what it basically says. Your spiritual practices themselves, will be reinforcing the non-existent thing. How can they destroy it? Exactly. This hit me and it never got up. I would, oh yeah, I would have been Peru with the paper. I would probably wrestle with fucking, vipers and shit. And if they gave me a little bit, I would have taken a whole lot more, fucking just like I did everything else in life. Yeah, and maybe write blog posts and shit like that. Yeah. And then I would probably be super keen on listening to people. I could care less. No, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how clear the existent thing is. If it's not clear, it's a non-existent thing. I don't see any value in it. I really don't. I mean, if there's value in it, it's only going to last 70 years. It's going to go. It's just like people working out for like 30 years. Gravity always wins, you know, this drooping is going to happen here and you just can't win. Yeah, it's just, so that's why I'm here. Whatever it is, cannot see, just like the idea of in recovery, there's a very important statement. It says, you got to quit playing God. Yeah. All right. So, whoop, maybe you didn't even know it, but in this case, it's sort of saying you are playing God. Yeah. Why? It doesn't work. That's a simple thing. Okay. So exactly how it was said, that's how I read it. Yeah. I felt it was me playing God. Yeah. And basically the only thing I could do as that way in that kind of equational location, which was I'm going to have to stop playing God. Now, if I'm playing God and I try to stop playing God, that's playing God. Yeah. When does it turn into not playing God? Never. If I'm playing God right now, and then I hear something and it says, you got to stop playing God. Okay, that would be playing God. How am I, where does it change? Where does it, finally the 800 door, the 801st door is going to open? No, they're all locked in that hallway. On and on and on and on and on. Because every movement that you're doing to not be the existent thing is reinforcing you are the existent thing. I don't see anyone getting out of it. It's too fast. Most of us don't even notice it. We start at the existent thing. There's no possibility that what we are is non-existent. This thing is none. We start at the existence of this thing. We do. Yeah. And therefore, that is an assumption that's off. And that's why whatever it does or doesn't do, it's still the topic of conversation, so that offness continues. Yeah. Because when you're dreaming of not being you, you're dreaming it as you, as the exist. Yes. So basically, you can't get off of that fucking square. You take the square with you on all the moves on the Monopoly board. Yes. You can't. Life's telling you the 48th square, you're going to be free, but the square gets put on the square. Yeah. And so this futility was noticed, and then this idea of non-duality appeared, which was a negation of that manufactured starting point, not trying to teach it a new affirmation or new tricks or be nice or whatever, losing interest in all that because you finally see that it's mechanical. Yeah. And it's not AI. It's not growing into an awareness. It isn't. I saw it with recovery, man. Before recovery, we have a statement in our community: self can't get out of self. So let's say the self is this idea of an existent thing, and it's trying to get out of this idea of being an existent thing as the existent thing. Yeah. That system that was doing it never learned. If it would fail, it would just change the vehicle. So spirituality, drug addiction, being good, being bad again, all these ways, the impact on that wall would never fucking reverberate. The programming had just blocked it all out, and it would keep on keeping on under this assumption and belief that it could get out of self as self. And this is what's pictured with us. The existent thing, which is a non-existent thing, is trying to get salvation for itself. Yeah. And it could take a long time because the stubbornness of this delusion, it will blame you, it will blame the vehicle. It won't question the impossibility of what you're attempting to do. It would say you can, if you only manage better or go to more retreats or become a monk. Yes, it's always more, but it's going away from the fucking point. The point is there's a presupposing of the non-existent thing right now to be an existent thing. And it is what's wanting to get salvation if you're interested in that topic. Therefore, what are you going to do? You can't give it more affirmation. It's not going to work. You've got to negate its reality because it's seeing everything else as being, it's the reality to everything else. You have to question it. Yeah. And this is the beauty of negation, because it's not a denial because it's not real. You're negating it. You're negating the assumption that it's real as it's presented. And when you're feeling existence, or let's say consciousness occur, when it's attributed to you and you're pictured as a body. Your whole memory system pictures you as a body. The whole mental enclave up there pictures you, represents you as, assumes, constantly implies and reinforces the existence is a thing. Yes? Yeah. I just don't see how you can beat it. So it was just a futility. And then I lost interest in all the attempts, because the attempts were cool if they were innocent, but they're doing something. They're reinforcing the non-existent thing as the existent thing. Yeah. So the head is using what you think you're doing to get out of something to verify that you're in something. Yeah. I don't see, it just hit me strongly, and it's never not hit me. And that's why we're still here, because there's other people that are very cool, I'm sure. They probably get you much more excited because there's things to do, but I humbly believe if you don't see this, you're looking from it. Yeah, and if you're looking from it, no matter how clear you're looking from, you're not seeing what's before it. Yeah. And so, whatever, here we are, another Wednesday night.
The first step's the doozy.
The first step is the Zuzi. And this is why time is essential for the non-existent thing to be seen as an existent thing. It's completely necessary. The time. And a lot of what has been done in time, you're not aware of. You believe like you started, you were made up. You're not the starting of time. You were made in time, and you're reinforced in time, and you're remembered by time. Yeah, it's essential to have memories of you, to prove that you were you, and then to verify it's super important for you to worry about you in the future, so you will be you, and then it just assumes, and therefore you are you. And there we go. We didn't see that. We don't see that happening. We're looking from it. And some of us have run into too many walls. Who knows? I don't know. You get an itch. Yeah. If you don't have the itch, great. Go to the next softball game. You know what I mean? Have a hoagie or whatever. It's fine. Fantastic. But if you do have that itch, I mean, that itch can become a huge itch, and it will last for a long time. Yeah. Spirituals. There's a lot of suffering in spiritual seeking. A lot of suffering in spiritual seeking, and a lot of disappointment and frustration because you think a peak experience was the greatest peak experience, and you expect attributes of the non-existent thing triggered by the mental state to change because you feel like it was an all-changing event, and yet you're still an asshole to people 2 days later, and that your head just uses that to disqualify you. Yeah. Yeah. And there's no interventions at spiritual meetings. No one rushes in and grabs you and tells you to drop the DVD or whatever and takes you out. If you sign up for the 38th retreat, you're probably going to get an acceptance letter. The persons aren't going to go, hey, bro, maybe you've been too many fucking times.
Why you didn't go on retreat? Why haven't you gone on
Exactly.
retreat?
Because it's more. That's the only way we can see it from this fucking point of view. And this is all about less. Loss of interest is the key. If self tries to lose interest in self, that's interest in self. Yeah. But you are not self. That's how you lose interest in it. You see, you're not that. That's how you lose interest in it. The language sounds like you're losing interest. There's a loss of interest in it. And then what wasn't, the walls that weren't being painted or nothing are suddenly alive and painted. And the emphasis of your life changes. Instead of a myopic emphasis, it becomes a panoramic vision. Yeah. I mean, fall is unbelievable. The weather, the color, things going on. There's so much unbelievableness. Yeah. That while you're busy through a day, never get really noted or never collected or just seen for a little bit. Yeah. It's all about what I did or do that, blah, blah. But man, this is so beautiful here. It just stops you in your tracks. And you're in a pause so you can do that. And I'm retired, basically. I'm old now, so sometimes I don't start when I'm stopped in the tracks. It immediately leads to horizontalness, which I love because the awareness then is more audio, sound and frequency. Yeah. So you're laying there and there's vibrations going off and you're so fucking alive, not as this thing. The thing seems to be getting run down, but you're alive. I mean, it's just crackling. Yeah. And that's not an experience. That's the basis of what we are. We are not of thingness. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Anyone else? Thank you. You primed the pump, David.
Thank you, David.
I'm all
Does
psyched.
anybody have any comments? You can let us know. If you want to talk, you can use your virtual hand or just wave. I was just reminded of what you said yesterday is at the recovery meeting, you said country of origin, spirit.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes. Yes. Country of origin, spirit. Yeah. I love the thing. It was attributed to Jesus that you're in this world, but you're not of this world. If you started with you're not of this world, it doesn't work. Yeah. But this is a beautiful negation. So there's in this world, and we all know what it's like seemingly to be in this world. Yeah. So you get familiar with that, and then he gives you the option, which is, but you're not of this world. Yeah. So you may be in, but being in doesn't mean you're of. Yeah. And a sense of individuality doesn't mean there's an individual. There can be a sense of individuality with no individual. Yeah. There's a sense of dread when there's no threat. You don't believe the head can make up a sense of shit. Yeah. I feel like I'm a body. Of course you do. Yeah. It's got a whole orchestra to play with, to convince us. Yeah. And the best convincing is the possibility never coming up. Really. We're just locked into the manufactured point. We're locked in there. And no matter what we do or do that or whatever stalls it or gives us a momentary reprieve, we tend to bounce back to that same manufactured point, which is what they're speaking of. And he's basically saying, if you don't see this, you're looking from it. Yeah. Yeah. And you can reckon, and the looking from it will continue, but you won't be the one looking from it. You'll see the looking from it. Yeah. You'll see it. It doesn't stop. The action figure is looking from it. You'll see that. Yeah. It's not like it stops. Oh, it doesn't. Now it looks within, or it sees no thingness. No, it keeps looking from it, and you see that you're not that which is looking from it. It's not about changing anything. It's about noticing it. Yeah. And I humbly believe the non-duality message is a perfect primer to pump up that vision or that hit of awareness when you see, let's say, that body that you thought was alive, dead, and you recognize that wasn't Uncle Fred. Yeah. To have that extended here, to me, is the understanding is quite helpful, but the vision or the awareness illuminating the understanding is awesome. Yeah. So you get these little wax, little free samples and stuff, and then you get an understanding that will allow those wax to be extended in time. Just like what happened to me in recovery. I got wax sober, and whatever set that off had me in an AA meeting that night. And that way of life extended the miracle now for 36 years. I truly believe it probably would have died by the weekend if I hadn't had that reinforcement, which was the program of AA. So here, understandings can extend certain things. Even the popping up of the reality needs to be extended in the time warp. Yes. So this understanding of non-duality and the vision that you've been afforded to, where you've gotten free samples, lengthens it here. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't go the peak experience way where it's forgotten in a few minutes. Yeah, it gives life to your everyday living. This is the dog shit awareness. It's awareness, it's vision, illuminating and understanding. The understanding is non-duality and the vision is awareness. Yeah. So the awareness is illuminating the understanding of non-duality. About what? About the non-existent thing being an existent thing. Yeah. And then there's a non-existent thing, and then there's an appearance of an existent thing. There's no being an existent thing. Yeah. But there's an appearance of an existent thing. Yeah. Yeah. And then you get, if you have a biography of the noun, and then you've actually experienced the real biography, which is your verb in a sense, you're verbing. When you hear, like when I read the Course in Miracles, I thought that was a much clearer description of how I felt than a biographical take. Well, I was born here and I did this and do that. The feeling like you and I give everything all the meaning has, all that really felt like a description of what I am, the activity. Yeah. Much clearer or much cleaner, much more intimate than Paul, Long Island, Irish, da, 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 da. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The noun, I mean, people, the intimacy of verbing doesn't need to even to be stated. You'll sense it. Yeah. And then that cocoon-like life of a noun, you see the emptiness of it. You do, really, literally. Yeah. So
Thank you. I think Meryl was reminded of first there is no mountain this evening.
oh, yes. All right. Well, again, remember time. Yes. Time is how things are being played out here. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Things fold and unfold. Things arise, depart. All this has to have time for those hallucinations to be seen that way. So there was an old Zen thing that I was introduced to, and it started like this. It said, first there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, and then there is a mountain again. Yeah. So, all right. Obviously, the statement, first there is a mountain. So, okay, there's a mountain, and that mountain seems to be blocking me off, let's say, from the sunlight or the spirit, whatever. And so I work hard to come to a point where there is no mountain. Yeah. So I feel much blah, 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 but inevitably there'll be a mountain again. Yeah. So I don't want to change it and add more stanzas. I just want to change where it starts, which is, I believe first there is no mountain. And then there's a mountain, and then there is no mountain. This happens a lot. And then the mountain reappears again. But if you start with there is a mountain, its reappearance really fucking frustrates the hell out of you. You get bummed out and everything, because really you started out that the mountain had a reality. And so when it doesn't have a reality, it doesn't last long, and it inevitably always imposes this reality again on you. But if you start with a negation of its reality by first there is no mountain, and then there's a mountain, and then there is no mountain at times, which is fucking great. I have a lot of gratitude for that, and there'll be a mountain again. Yeah. But the clarity, the reappearance of the mountain isn't going to have the same effects that when you thought there was a mountain to begin with. Yeah. You're going to see, oh, the appearance reappeared. And then you will realize this isn't a hallucination. It's more like a mirage. Yeah. So in a mirage, you see the oasis, and you won't go there with the hopes of water, and there's no water. So you got it. There's no water at all. It didn't look at all like it looked from a distance. And then you go back to that distance and you see it again, like an optical illusion. But now you see it again, but you don't walk there to look for water, because you're very clear, yeah, that there's no water there. That's what it's like in a lot of ways. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how I throw in that earlier stanza. First, there is no mountain would be the fact. Yeah. That's before time. Then in time, there's a mountain. And then we use time to try to get out of the mountain or break it down. And then inevitably in time, it reappears. Yeah. But if there is no mountain, the effect or your response to what it's going to do, disappear, appear, disappear, will not have the same effect as it does when you think there is a mountain. Yeah. Just the way it's just obvious to me. I just don't see, why would you want to start in time when you can start before time, which is there is no mountain. Because if you start trying to get out of something in time, you're just going to give it more time, so to speak. So yeah, so I've been forgiven by Zen doing that, I think. Yes, yeah. Do you know the feeling of it, time? If you could walk through time knowing there is no mountain, no matter how many times it appears, would the mountain seem to have all the influence and obstacle ability of a mountain? No, it wouldn't. You would find other paths. You would not necessarily have to climb the mountain. Yeah, you may just you may entertain, why do I even need to climb a mountain? I think I'll just stay right here. Who knows? Yeah. But you see that there is no mountain is implying there is a quality that doesn't have time in it. In other words, there's no movement, no like current, like a waterless ocean of time, where a current of moving to the next inexorable hour or whatever. It's completely still. Yeah. 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 And so it's so still, it's there to witness anything that appears and disappears. Yeah. And basically, in a way, that's how you know your own nature, is by seeing what you're not, literally. I don't see how else you can. You can't experience it. You can't get it. Can't have it. Can't rent it. Yeah. But by seeing what you're not, that is actually what you are at that moment. You're the awareness that's noticing what you're not. Wow. Yeah. Then you get an intimacy, even in this world of things, man. You can feel intimate to the no thing. There's no love letters. It's not pronounced. You don't get married, but there's an intimacy with it. Yeah. You felt something or nothing move through. Yeah. As the apparatus, and the apparatus can not try to express it as the apparatus, but let it express through the apparatus. Yeah. And there's an intimacy when it does that. Yeah, I feel. Yeah. So first, there is no mountain. Yeah. First, it's a non-existent thing. Then there's the existent thing. Then we want to make it a non-existent thing, and it always keeps appearing as an existent thing. But if you start with first, there's a non-existent thing. When it's seen to be an existent thing, why not just question that and negate that? And there, as it keeps appearing as an existent thing, you will know it's a non-existent thing. Yeah, same. It's going to keep appearing, yeah, as long as you're here. Yes, it is. When people call me and they tell me they disappeared, who the hell's telling me they disappeared? Yeah, it's just like crazy. I wouldn't hear from them if they disappeared. But I disappeared for a few weeks. Well, fuck, what the hell? Who the hell am I talking to now? An appearance. Yeah, exactly. Your disappeared is your nature. I'd be worried if you've been disappeared for years, eons. It's the appearance that's the case. I'm appearing. Yes, you are. Where am I appearing from? The disappearance. Then you travel much lighter with the appearance, knowing it's a disappearance. Whatever. All right. Thank you. So anyone else? In recovery, I'm jumping in. Because of the way you see things, there's a lesson, there's a step in our program. There's a meaning in it for non-addicts, and that step is sought through prayer and meditation to improve one's conscious contact, yeah, with what we are, or as what we are, right? Now, when people hear that, they think there's only two ways to improve that conscious contact, prayer and meditation. And some people are very anxious. They can't sit still for 3 minutes. And then the only avenue to improve the conscious contact is prayer. But it doesn't say that. They're just two suggestions. Yeah. And once you get a flavor of conscious contact, every day is improving the conscious contact. But I've known people who like, oh, I've really blown it. I can't learn to meditate. Fuck it. Do you feel okay in nature? Take walks in nature. There's your meditation. Yes. This is what the head does, though. It's always looking for a way to disqualify you. Yeah. But in that space, there's no requirements. The space before time, there are no requirements. That's the gateless gate. That's the open secret. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Oh, I think people want to eat. I got the yay. Yeah. The live audience is hungry. Yeah. All right, Kathleen, you want to keep going, or hey, Stacy? Yes, always a pleasure to see you. Come show up a little more, call us up or something. Say hello.
I know.
Yeah.
I just keep missing it, but you'll see me more. Good to see you, Paul. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, yeah. All right, Eric, my man, with the maca and the hat and the shoes and everything. Yes, thank you. Yes, you. Anu, as always. Always a pleasure, honey. Thank you. Craig May. Yes, very good. The profile, yes, no, it's nice. Annette, always. Christy, Marl, yeah. Was that all right with the first Thursday Mountain, honey?
Yes.
I love that so much. I can't tell you. I've said before that that's the one, after hearing you for so many years, that's the one that
Oh,
I
great.
hear.
Well, just keep using it then, because if it's like a yodel that will cause the avalanche.
It's
Yeah.
great.
You don't have to yodel, you can record it, a yodel, and the avalanche doesn't know the difference. Just, yeah. Oh, I've done it. I mean, did not study the Course in Miracle book. Certain things I ran into there caused avalanches, so to speak, and I've never forgot them, and I use them here. But it's not everything, and you don't need tons of avalanches. It's just one avalanche tells you the nature of certain things. Yeah, yeah. All right, Kathleen, always a pleasure. Nice to see you. We got Craig May, Anu, Andy, Rick Rowe in Toronto, Eric in Vista. I don't think I can get to the other page. There's more people. I can't see you. But the other people, thank you. We'll be here tomorrow with the recovery meeting. It's right now, it's 8 o'clock Pacific time. So I know the hour, the time has changed. And it's 10:30 in Pacific time in the morning is the meeting tomorrow. But hey, thank you. Oh, there's Chris D. Nice to see you, Annette. Rick Rowe, everyone. Yeah, what a pleasure. Yeah. Yeah. See that you are not the one that's presupposing. Yeah, the presupposing is of the mental state, and then you're the one. And then when you're the one and you hear this, you think you're the one that was presupposing, and that was another fucking huge mistake you made. No. Most of what you call you is mechanical. Yeah. There's no personal flavor. It's like a syrup that doesn't come with the meal. You have to order the extra, and then the personalness gets called the cherishing of self. The cherishing of self. I heard that in Buddhism. I thought it was so beautiful, because it's like, what name could you give the cherishing of self? Me. That's when you've been embracing, rolling around with it. It's me. It's not a you. It's a me. Special. Very nice. So, all right. I'll see you, folks. Thank you.
Paul.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Enjoy your meal.
I
Thanks,
will.
Kathleen. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Paul.